Good evening at 6:15 on April 4th, 2023. And we would like to call to order a special Urbana Human Relations Commission's meeting to order. Tom, may we have a roll call, please?
Asako Kanazi Leggett.
Here.
Peter Resnick.
Here.
Greg Schroeder.
Here.
Julie Robinson Schaefer.
Here.
Stacy Burnett.
Here. We have a full house. Thanks, everyone. Yeah. Thanks for being patient. Moving on, we have approval of the agenda. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Pete, second by Julie. All in favor, any revisions or you want to make, okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Okay, moving on to approval of the minutes. We have two sets here, one from January 17th and the other one from February 21. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Greg, second by Ossie. Any revisions to the minutes? I think I probably said that backwards last time. Okay, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. All right. Moving on to public participation. Having none. Moving on to unfinished business, which there is none today. New business is next down the EEO.
Oh, that was last.
That's old.
Sorry. Thank you for the correction.
All right, no problem. Moving on to the EEO workforce statistics, looks like we have 16 up for renewal or and recommendations. Carla was so nice to go ahead to make some recommendations for us in advance. And looks, I'll just go through what we have right now. Allied Waste, do you want me to read off what you suggested also, or just? Okay, okay. For 2 years, Bailey Edward Design for 2 years, Blue Shift Cybersecurity 2, Clark Baird Smith 2, Clark Dietz 2, EG Equipment, 1 year with Good Faith Efforts. Oh, I guess they were submitted already, so 1 year. Ingberg Anderson, 1 year with a Good Faith Effort. ERES International, 1 year with Good Faith Effort. Fresh Cut Lawn Care, 2 years. Gibson Tel Data, 1 year with a Good Faith Effort. Cone Inc., 2 years. Midwest Engineering and Testing, 6 months with Good Faith Effort. Online Solutions, 2 years. Stryker Sales, 1 year. The Roderick Group, 2 years. And Traffic and Parking Control, 1 year with Good Faith Efforts. All right, is there anyone who would like to make a recommend?
I have a question. I'm not sure. I was trying to follow you. Did you talk about the Roderick Group?
Yeah,
Okay, I just didn't hear it. I'm sorry.
the 2 year, right? So I'll make a motion, and basically to summarize, this is all of the recommendations save Clark Dietz for 1 year, and I'll explain one, which is, scroll down and find it, Stryker. I wanted to make particular mention of the letter. But, so it will be Allied Waste for 2 years, Bailey Edwards for 2 years, Blue Shift for 2 years, Clark Baird for 2 years, Clark Dietz for 1 year, EJ Equipment, 1 year with plan, Enberg Anderson for 1 year with plan, ERES International with 1 year with plan, Fresh Cut Lawn Care 2 years, Gibson Teledata 1 year with plan, Kona 2 years, Midwest Engineering 6 months with plan, Online Solutions 2 years, Stryker Sales 1 year with a positive letter, Traffic and Parking 1 year with plan, Roderick Group 2 years, and I think that's it. So moved.
All right, do we have a second?
Whoosh.
I will second.
We have a motion by Pete, second by Julie. It's open for discussion.
I would like to make a friendly amendment, ERAS International for 2 years, as they are less than, or fewer than 20 employees.
Do we do fewer than, yes, we do. Friendly amendment accepted, thank you.
I just want to, is it just the 2 years, or is it 2 years with a plan?
Well, so if they're less than 20 employees, isn't that our cutoff? We just give them 2 years because the assumption is the numbers they aren't probably statistically significant.
I just wanted to make sure,
Yeah.
as it stood, how to change it.
And the only other comment I would make, the reason I said Stryker with a good letter, and really for Clark Dietz the same thing, I think in both cases we want to say, we're glad you've made progress. Stryker actually, they're hiring, they hired more minorities percentage-wise, which was great than the layoffs. And Clark Dietz did come up with a good faith effort plan. I think what we want to say to them is, the numbers still aren't great, but we understand you're making progress, and we'd like to hold off for another year and see how you do, just to confirm. So a letter to that effect, if you can come up with something. I think we want to encourage them and explain that we're not punishing them by giving them 1 year. We're just making sure that everything is going well.
What was the recommendation on Roderick Group? 2 years?
Yes.
Yeah, 2 years, the separation hires, I didn't think were significantly different. And they, half of their hires were minority employees. It was a bummer that they laid off half minority employees, to be sure. But it doesn't look like, it looks like they're at least attempting to keep up with hiring minorities, so.
I noted that, the higher percentage of cuts were at the professional level, so it seems like
Yeah.
the management is losing in diversity.
I agree, and I don't know that I would object to a lesser recommendation, but it was one of those that was sort of a flip of a coin for me, and I thought the recommendation was okay, so.
And for traffic and parking, why are they needing a plan? I guess I was a little,
The overall numbers weren't looking too good. I mean, they did an equivalent amount of hiring, but they are located in a place where it's 62% white, 29% black, and the numbers just aren't good given those population numbers. They have 319 employees, only 44 of which are black. It's just not great.
I would, if I may, with the recommendation, looking at where they're located, Round Deer, Wisconsin, I looked at where they were situated, and there isn't a lot of transportation in and out of there. You would have to have some form of personal transportation, and so I said, well, how will you reach those? So that's why I said 1 year with a plan to say, what kind of things could you do or would you be doing?
okay, thank you. Okay. Do I need to read them all again, I guess?
No.
Okay, just,
If Tom's got them,
okay. Okay,
as moved, I think is probably all you need to say.
okay, all right. Moved,
Yeah.
all right. Is there a second?
Nope, already done. So now it's just
Oh,
take
we're
the
just
vote.
done? We're just saying it's all good? Okay,
Unless there's further discussion, yeah, I think we just vote.
okay, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Okay, all right, moving on to the second Under new business is the HREO or Designee EEO interim authority, which will be,
That was something I would cover in my report, and
okay,
if you don't mind, I can just go right into
okay.
my
Yeah, we
report.
can move on to the officer's report.
That was an idea that I had brought forth to you for later discussion with the committee to try to avoid, if we have a quorum, or if we have lack of a quorum for a meeting, to be able to do an administrative approval until we can get to the next meeting, because the impact to the city could be significant. Based on the last 2 months that we had, there were federal dollars on the line, bills that we have to wait until the approval, because they are not paying them if they're not an approved vendor. And so it put things back. And we also, opportunities of losing vendors, because they're like, well, you're not approved, so you can't. So it impacted the city being able to move forth in business. And so I was going to talk to you guys about that, and then you guys can discuss it and decide how you want to move forward on that, so that we could avoid any delays by allowing my office to do an administrative certification for 1 month, 2 months, to get us to the next meeting where you guys can make your recommendations for the long term.
How would that come into play with contracts? Are the vendors okay with a 1 month contract?
Well, they would come back to you when we have our next quorum meeting, and then they would be certified. They would know that it's a provisional certification until the committee can approve them. If you don't approve them,
Right.
that will be a challenge. And again, that was just an idea to bring forth how you guys want to handle that. You know, I can come up with some ideas, but ultimately.
So the way the ordinance is worded, the 2119, I forget what the chapter number is, but the way the ordinance is worded is if we disapprove, which, by the way, we've not yet done, ever, if we disapprove, that constitutes a breach of contract for them. So then it's up to the city to say, hey, you've got this breach of contract. Whatever usually happens with a breach of contract, which is they negotiate a settlement, they have to, you know, get their act together, or they could lose the money, something like that. Basically, we're telling the city they breached the contract. So a 1 month approval, and they come to us and we actually disapprove, which would be a really unusual event, that we wouldn't at least say, well, we're gonna give you 6 months to show us what good faith efforts you're gonna make. A full disapproval, I think we would take seriously anyway, and then the city would be responsible for figuring out how to have them cure their contract violation. So I don't see this as a problem that's gonna come up in any kind of regular way. It's a once in a long while something bad's gonna happen. But a 1 month approval until the next meeting seems reasonable for city to sort of do an administrative provisional approval, which will continue on with, so long as the city legal is on board with this.
That's the idea brought forth. I don't know if you guys were amenable to that, but then we would bring everybody else into it. It was just an idea because of the concerns that we've had these last couple months, and we've had that happen before, to where we need to have something in place so that the city can continue to do business.
So I guess how will we determine if something comes up? Would you just automatically go into the 1 month approval, or will we try to meet, and then if we don't have a quorum, then go into after that meeting if we don't have a quorum?
My initial thoughts were, if we have a meeting scheduled, if we have a meeting and we don't meet quorum, the very next
Naturally.
morning,
Okay.
things will start dropping. So I could give that administrative approval with, if we don't have quorum, so that business can keep moving, and then the next month, those EEOs will still come before you.
So I would just suggest that we see some language for our bylaws or our rules that legal is okay with. If it is just the 1 month provisional, I'm comfortable with it, but I'd want to see the language and, you know, then we'd have to approve it. And that it actually would work with the ordinance, that the ordinance saying that we've got to approve, is it okay? I mean, my guess is, you know, since it really is a matter of we are either okay with the contract going forward or we are saying it's a contract violation, that the city is on board with you saying for a month, they may decide differently, but you can go ahead and approve the contract. Just know that they could come up next month and say, nope, there's a contract violation. Seems okay.
We would have their EEO information in front of us,
Right.
and most of my recommendations are based on past approvals of what I think you might do based on what you've done previously. If it's something way out in the ballpark, I would probably seek some type of understanding from, you know, Stacy and Julie. How do you see moving forward? But my purpose for the topic was for the committee to start thinking about, can we put something in place so that there's a continuity of business? And I can talk with legal to find out how that can happen, the language to make that happen. Another thing was in the bylaws, it doesn't state that someone can call in. So we need to have that added to the bylaws. Want to be able to do that. It's not stated in there. I checked because to make sure about quorum, and it's not stated in there. And so I will get the language that's used for the council to present to you guys.
All that said, if we filled up our roster, it would make this much easier.
And that's the next thing.
That was my next question.
And that's the next thing is that I have received some names, some recommendations. No one has officially applied, but I'm going to proactively reach out to some names that were given to see if they are interested in applying. And then the rest of my report is, as far as formal complaints are concerned, we have one formal complaint for housing, source of income, one formal complaint for employment, national origin. I'm currently assisting 2 additional complainants with filing a complaint with the state. Our office does not have jurisdiction over the respondents in that complaint, and so I'm just helping them file that with the state. It'll go through that complaint will go through the state, and they'll do their investigations and things like that. But I'm just assisting them with making sure they have their documentations and how to upload that stuff. I have one complainant reached out to the office concerning housing, criminal background, but the complainant has missed 2 of our scheduled meetings, and so I'm just waiting to hear from them. Informal complaints, there was one that was a tenants issue. I referred them to the tenants union and for them to seek personal legal counsel. Housing, there was one with a housing condition issue, and so I referred them to the city building inspection department. And then there was an employment issue that was not related to discrimination. And so I just shared with them resources. Office activity, I've signed up to get recertified for the EEO certification, to be a certified investigator, signed up to become a member of the ADA coordinator program, And I will sign up for the certification program. I have a year to start that, and with everything else going on, I figured I'd allow myself time to get through a lot of the stuff that's on our plate right now, and then I will start that, because our office is the ADA coordination office, and so I want to make sure that I'm certified to be able to do that. I did a presentation to the city on the enforceability of the source of income discrimination, new law, and presented some questions and challenges with investigating those cases, and that when necessary, I will assist complainants with filing complaints with the state, and that's basically what I've been doing. If I've taken the cases, but if it becomes challenging and stuff like that, we'll refer them to the state. Attended the Fair Housing Workshop for service providers today. And then there's one tomorrow for landlords, so I'm just going and getting information and listening, and, you know, I want to hear what the other groups or entities are hearing, so that I can, you know, have an understanding when either cases or questions come to me. And again, just office tasks that come up, like, you know, I have to respond to FOIAs and interdepartmental stuff. And that is the end of my report.
Great. Just real quick, as far, I was thinking of some trade shows. Are we going to sign up for the Jetty Roads?
Yes.
Okay, because I know
Yeah.
they're accepting.
Yeah. We're already. The city of Urbana has already put out the request for volunteers from the city. I'm kind of like automatically assigned.
Okay.
So yeah, we're going to have a table. I think we're going to have a couple of tables and some activities going on.
Okay. All right, cool. Good. Thank you. Okay, moving on to announcements. Our next scheduled meeting is going to be Tuesday, April 18th at 5:30. Will that?
Stay tuned. I will let you know after I have a meeting tomorrow if I will be continuing on my extended work schedule.
So if Julie needs to schedule for 6:15, is everybody okay with that in advance? Madam Chair, you might want to do an official voice vote on that one.
That's on the 18th?
Yes.
I will not be present. It's not the time, I won't be present.
We don't have hearing. I'm sorry, we don't have hearing-related stuff on the 18th, do we? Okay, good.
We do not.
And just to confirm, 4 is a quorum.
I also have one other thing. Did you guys receive the change order information? Because that had the new dates on it.
Oh, we don't have, yes, and that's fine.